When mooring up on a tidal river, it's important to moor against the flow of the water at the time you arrive. If you're traveling with the flow, continue past the mooring, turn around, and come back to the mooring with the flow against you. This makes your approach much slower and ensures you've got positive flow across the rudder, which gives you more tiller control and makes your approach much safer and easier. The boat that joined us on the pontoons at Gainsborough hadn't really considered this, so when they tried to come in to moor, they were riding the tide and traveling quite fast. As a result of the speed and force of the water, they couldn't get the boat over to the pontoon. To slow, they had to reverse, but that meant that now there was negative flow across the rudder, which forces the tiller to one side and makes steering much more difficult, if not impossible. You can see the river carrying them away as they try to slow to moor. While their boat did have enough power to reverse against the flow to back up, on their second attempt they turned around to take another shot, but unfortunately still traveling from the trickier direction. By this time, Joe's come out to try and help. I'm not there because at this moment I've pottered off somewhere silly to try my first Yorkshire tea. As you can see, the more they try to get their bow over, the more the stern swings out. In an attempt to get enough flow over the rudder to move the stern over, they speed up and crash into the pontoon. It's an easy mistake to make, but nothing about this situation is safe or controlled. From lots of experience, Joe already knows that if she pulls their bow line, their stern will swing out as the boat pivots around its middle, so she automatically gives them some slack. The skipper asked her to pull them in, so against her better judgment, she did what he'd asked and demonstrated physics. Sure enough, their stern went further into the flow. As they swung around, Joe realized that they could use the bow line to swing the boat round into the mooring, but it's quite hard to communicate with another boater when they're busy and focused on the plan they've got in mind. You never know how experienced they are or what reaction you're going to get, and of course it's really hard to hear and be heard when you're standing on top of a high-revving engine. He's still trying to use the engine to push the stern over against the flow, and it's just not working. He wants the bow pulled in, thinking he can use the engine to bring the stern in. But the flow, of course, is still pushing the stern around, and in these circumstances you have to learn that the engine will lose and the tide will win.
Throw the rope on board. If you moor it this way, then you're going more steady against the tide.
They asked Joe to throw the line back so they can try again, but she's finally able to communicate that it would be better for them to just come in against the tide.
So should we come in this way, the same way that...
Okay, walk up then.
So small bump to perseverance, and 2 minutes later they're safely moored, facing into the flow.